From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee.
Coffee's for closers only.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
And Corey Clark.
That's right. Let's go. What's going on, everybody? I'm Aslan. He is Corey. This is Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee. Come explore our world of coffee.
It's your lips. It's so good.
By the way, Michael Langston, if you're watching, this hot cocoa is yours. Come pick it up. I don't feel like driving to the east side of town from the Midtown offices. Corey Clark, how are you, man?
I'm all right. I've had a frustrating 5 minutes here trying to figure out a computer that is not turning on, which is the computer is 6 days old, so it's pretty awesome. But yeah, I'm here now using Stephanie's computer. I look orange. I'm not sure what that's about. Maybe if I step away from the light, does that help? Anyway, I'm going to look like this, folks. That's what you're going to have to deal with.
You're in a different spot than usual in the kitchen, it seems like.
Well, because I was trying to head up I thought the light was a little better, but maybe I'll do this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, look at that nature preserve back there.
Really orange, though, man. I don't quite understand it.
Can we go hunting? Can we go hunting back there?
Oh, geez. Yeah.
Oh.
That's my property. I got my hunting cabins about a mile back in that property.
He's got a couple deer stands back there. A shout out to the guy, Tony West, who tweeted at us the other day. Boys, you hit a home run with DeLuna Coffee. I ordered the day you launched the partnership and had my first cup this morning. This was yesterday. The 1559 is an excellent light medium roast. So there you go. He's got some graffiti bridge, got some flavor, vanilla macadamia nut. I think that sounds exotic. I like that. I like that. Broaden your horizons, everybody.
That does look good. That's a good way to get on the show too. Send us pictures of you enjoying DeLuna. Yeah. Like maybe even a picture of you taking a warm sip in the morning.
Oh, all right. There we go. Yeah, maybe we'll work you into the intro here on the video side of things. We're going to take phone calls because that's what we do, Corey. I was going to tell Bart Dog to go ahead and just Google it, but I don't know if you want to answer this. Get a little basketball to wet the palate. Bart Dog's been around for a while. I remember him in the locker room, the Raucous Caucus, back to like
right.
So he's an OG. What are the roles and the names of the assistant coaches? I seem to see different ones talking to the team at different times during timeouts.
Well, they have three of them. They're Tarleton Young, Stan Jones, Steve Smith. Correct. Steve Smith is the newest one. He came from Clemson a couple of years ago when Dennis Gates. Shout out to Dennis Gates, by the way. Former FSU assistant, won the title. Help me out. Is it the Horizon League?
Horizon League, yeah.
Cleveland State is in, and the Cleveland State was terrible when he took over. And 2 years later, they've won the conference. And earlier this season, they gave up a 40-0 run, which I think was the biggest in NCAA history. Back in December, they made SportsCenter. They gave up. They were on the wrong side of a 40-0 run, and then 2 months later, they're winning their league. That's a really cool thing. He should be up for National Coach of the Year honors, honestly, with what he's done. But yeah, so their roles are, I think Stan is more of he works with the big men more because he is a big man, but their roles throughout the season, it's all player development, of course, and CY works with the guards. But also they all get their own scout. So like, I think Stan had the Virginia game. In fact, no, Stan had the Pitt game because Leonard said that it was Stan's scout a month ago when they were supposed to play him the first time. And then 2 weeks ago when they were supposed to play him the second time. So he's like, it's not that big a deal that we had to pause. And then we went from playing Virginia Tech to Pitt because Stan had already developed a scouting report for Pitt from the last 2 times they were supposed to play him. So so if they played 30 games a year, each assistant coach gets 10 scouts, which means he develops the scouting report for 10 games. And that's how it works. So they, and they'll break down excuse me, the scouting report will have the best player, shooting percentages, what you have to watch for. We can all understand what a scouting report is. So those are the roles. And then, they all do a little bit of everything. They all recruit. They all develop. They all, meet with the players. They do scouting reports, all that stuff.
So there isn't
more from the bench.
There isn't like an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator.
No, there is not one. Some teams have that, but they do not. I'm going to try something real quick. You keep up with the show.
All right, I'm going to keep up with the show. Corey's stepping away, which is fine. We'll give you guys a nice full shot of the Midtown offices here.
Is that better or worse?
You print guys are more vain than us TV guys.
No, it's not vain. I would rather be in the dark. Can I just turn my camera off? But I'm like, what is it? Does it look better the way it was when I'm orange, or now when I'm kind of slightly red?
I think that looks better. You're a little more dim, but it's not as pronounced. It's more subtle. So yeah, you look fantastic, Corey. Everyone's just glad you're here, man. We're all just glad you're here, Corey. That's all that matters. Hey, we're a call-in show, at least on this day. We're going to have another live show Thursday, happy hour, 5 p.m. Mark that down on your calendar, kids. But without further ado, let's go to the phone lines. All right, we're going to talk about football. Let's go, Gator Kirk. It's the mayor of the 757, Virginia Beach, Virginia. It is Gator Kirk, and he wants to talk about accountability. He likes buzzwords. But first, how are you, Gator Kirk?
What's up, gentlemen? How you doing this evening?
Great, man. Corey's feeling better now. Corey, you're muted yourself.
Yeah,
Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, Corey.
Yeah, well.
Corey, unmute yourself. I'm going to unmute. I can't even unmute him because it won't let me unmute.
All right, that's my fault. That's my fault. I'm doing better now, Gator Kirk, now that I hear your voice. It's been a rough 10 minutes here.
Okay. Yeah, well, we could be doppelgangers, so that's probably why. So anyway, you get, there's a thing in SEAL training where you only get 2 minutes to stress about something. Okay. You can only be stressed for 2 minutes, or you can be happy for 2 minutes, and then you got to move on.
All right.
Because if not, you're going to get weighed down, and then you're going to die. So
okay, all right. It's the 2 minute rule.
I got 2 minutes to stress.
The stress is now over. I'm happy.
Okay, well, good. Well, you only have 2 minutes for that too, and then you got to get back to the task. So it's a vicious cycle. Of the web. So anyway, I was wondering if Norvell has accountability partners on his team, like Hamilton has on the basketball team. Do they kind of like pair up in things with, the veteran players for different accountability issues with classes and practice and things like that?
I'm not aware of that, but I tell you what, I bet you Mike Norvell would go through what was the name of that SEAL training that a couple of the programs on campus did, and I think the football team tried but didn't complete it. I don't think they'd back out of it if Norvell had his druthers, Corey. But I don't know of accountability partners, but maybe there's segment leaders during tour of duty that if they don't step up, maybe everybody else eats it a little bit.
Yeah, all these teams have like leadership councils and stuff like that. I'm sure he has something. He has some sort of machination for that, where the players can hold accountability for the other players. But no, not like Leonard has with the basketball team, and that was part of Ira's story with those walk-ons. The 4 guys that have been with the program for really the whole time, really since this whole rise, and they've been there on the ground floor. And now, even though they don't play much, there's Travis Light is telling Scotty Barnes what to do or what not to do during timeouts or when he comes off the bench. And there's a real respect there, even though they don't play. Justin Linder doesn't play. Prieto doesn't play much. They're walk-ons. They still hold each other accountable, and they're part of the accountability. And so it's a really cool part of Leonard's program. I don't know that other schools of the caliber of Florida State have walk-ons that are that vital and that much a part of the program like these guys. I think a lot of them are just scout team dummies. Like, hey, let me cross you over about 10 times to feel good about myself, and then you can leave and we can hang out. Like, Florida State certainly isn't. I don't think Florida State is the norm when it comes to walk-ons. But yeah, going back to football, I don't know of anything like that, like an accountability partner. But I think part of that is natural, though, right? Like, who the leaders are in a segment. And I don't know that you have to put a label on it and say, okay, this guy's your accountability partner. You got to answer to him. I think everybody knows probably in the receiver room or the offensive line room or the whatever room who the real leaders are. I think they emerge without having to have labels on them. So, better or worse?
Worse. I feel like I'm at the optometrist, like twisting a little thing on my eye. Better or worse? More blur, unblur. Gator Kirk, anything else for us?
No, not. I mean, I had another question on the same realm, but I'll save it. Anyway, I hope everyone's doing well. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. If you're a coffee drinker, make sure you support the Luna Coffee because they're Noles, we're Noles. support all the Noles out there: softball, baseball, volleyball, basketball. There's a whole shitload of things going on out there.
Gator Kirk.
Always go Noles.
Oh man, we don't have we got to dump them. We don't have like the 10-second censor, man.
Yeah, has he been setting us up for a year?
He has, man. He put the oak on us. But it's all good. We appreciate it, man. It's showing that you got some pizzazz, which I'm all about pizzazz, Gator Kirk. There's a lot of stuff going on, which is great for us.
I'll be honest, Gator Kirk. I feel like I'm stressing. I'm stressing again for another couple minutes. Our caller, our leadoff caller, goes ahead and throws an S-bomb out there right away.
Well, what are you gonna do? All right, I'm trying in vain to get this up on Instagram, so I'm struggling as well too, Corey. So don't worry about it. But we're gonna make it through this thing together. That's what we're gonna do. Whatever happened to Seminoles? Somebody asking here. I don't know. Seminoles, he might come back when it's football season. He hibernates, I think, during the winter.
I miss old Seminoles. What he would say mean things about you, but then tip us, right? And then ask like real questions. I liked him. You never knew where you stood with Seminoles.
Yeah, I like it. Keeps you off balance. All right. Let's go to our next caller here. Let's come back down to the Sunshine State. We got Wes in the Villages. Wants to talk about the 2020 class. Not the 2021 class that just signed, but the 2020 class. Good evening, Wes.
Good evening, fellas. How we doing?
Splendid.
Well, we're doing all right, man. We apologize for you having to listen to Gator Kirk Kurtz right before you're on the air. Please don't follow suit.
I'll be sure to keep it PG.
There you go.
Good, thanks.
So my question about the 2020 class. So I come up with three guys that either didn't play, underperformed, that I'd like to see take a big step forward this fall and make a big impact. So I wanted to hear your all's thoughts. If you had three guys you could come up with and why.
Oh, he's got his own. I like that. He's coming prepared. I will head over to warchant.com, the Ultimate Seminoles Sports Source, Corey, and pull up the 2020 class. That way, both you and I have a visual aid to help us work through this exercise posed to us by our friend in the Villages. Improvement. Three guys, too. So that's great, man. We have all sorts of opportunity here.
Why don't I can go first if that'll help. I'll go first if you want.
Sure, yeah. You do that.
Go ahead. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so number one, Kentron Portier. I think that guy with his size and length athleticism, I'd really like to see a big jump up, from him production-wise. Obviously, we've talked at length about the wide receiver core. Somebody from that class needs to step up, and I just think that guy's got a lot of potential. And then number two for me is I'm really high on Corey Wren. He didn't really see the field, and it just kind of, with his speed, I really think in the slot that guy could make a really big impact if he's healthy. And then on my other sleeper pick that we haven't seen at all go to the defensive side, and that's Demore Tate. I really think that kid's going to, I know the defensive backfield's loaded, but that guy was a highest recruit for Mike Norvell's first class. And I just think he could be something special. So I didn't go with obvious choices. I went with ones that I'd like to see, bring something to the table that either haven't had a chance. So those are my three.
All right, so
I think Demore Tate's a good one. I was certainly leaning that route. I would counter a little bit and say I don't know that the defensive backfield is loaded. It's crowded. We don't know if it's loaded with great players, but it's definitely crowded with players. So for him to get on the field, he is going to have to beat some dudes that have played a lot more than him. But I don't know. That's not like when Jalen Ramsey came in 13 and was competing against, Nick Wasom and Darby and PJ Williams and Joyner. If he's good enough, he should get on the field. And then other than that, yeah, I don't know if I'm counting on Wren. I think Ja'Kai Douglas is a guy that they made a real effort to get the ball to last year in different ways, and I think that was for a reason. I think that's a guy they think can really help him. He had 2 touchdowns, which is, as many as anybody else that was on the team that caught passes last year. So I think he's a guy that I can see. I just think the way they played him, I trust their opinions, and I don't know what happened with Wren. I don't know if he was banged up, had an injury. He wasn't he wasn't quite good enough at that time or just learning the system. But the fact that Ja'Kai Douglas got on the field a pretty decent amount as a true freshman, I think lends itself to those guys saw something. Dillingham and Norvell saw something that they liked in him, and I foresee him being used in a variety of different ways. You hope Ren can find it too, just because that speed is something you can't teach. But it didn't, and it was 1 year. It was a weird year, so hopefully it translates to the college game here soon. And then I don't know the other one. I don't know, Sidney Williams maybe. I don't know. Does Robert Scott count?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because Robert Scott's the guy that I like a lot. I think that guy's going to start at least 2 more years here at Florida State, and they like a lot. So I guess on second thought, I'll go Robert Scott. But those are my 3 guys.
Well, I mean, golly, how many guys have they signed? We're gonna talk about 9 of the
1,000. It looks like.
I will say Mastromano's one. He did not punt very strongly, very well, very consistently. Would like to see that sort of improve. How about Steven Dix? I was not nearly as impressed with him or encouraged by his play as many Florida State fans were. So maybe if he can do a little more, that'll open my eyes to the possibilities of what Steven Dix Jr. can be for this team. And then, I guess I'd probably say Robert Scott. I'll go with Robert Scott just so I don't have to, force shoehorn somebody else in here that I want to see.
And I didn't say Toafili because everybody knows how I feel about Toafili. I think that guy has a real chance, but that seemed like almost a too easy one. Another guy that's kind of I don't know, maybe they're all sleepers. I don't know. When you're a 3-star, I think sleeper's your middle name at this school. But, and Brian Robinson wasn't a 3-star. He was a 4-star. But that's a guy, I'm telling you, when I watched him in the spring last year, he had been on campus for a month, and it was only 3 days. And 2 of them weren't even in pads. But the guy just has the look and the feel and the route running. He seemed really precise. He was fast coming in and out of breaks. I think there's something there with that kid. I really do. And then he just couldn't get on the field this year, mainly for injuries. But he just couldn't get on the field. And that's a guy that you wonder, he might be like bursting. He might burst onto the scene this year if he's as good as I thought he looked at times. Very, very limited window that I got to see, but it sure seemed like the whole skill set was there with him.
All right. I like it. Actually, there was somebody else I was looking at on here that I thought might be a good – just because, Thomas Schrader, I think. Like, if those guys, I think, are the most practical. Like, if you get Schrader to improve, and that gives you some stability on the inside. If Master Romano improves, that enhances special teams. And if Steven Dix improves, that helps your struggling linebacking core out. So those are the guys that I would pick. I want to see improvements out of because we didn't see a lot out of them. I don't think, at least.
No. So. There's plenty to see. There's still plenty to see out of all those guys.
Anything else for us, Wes?
No, all good choices, guys. Yeah, I didn't go with Toafili like you, Corey. I'm high on him as well. Obvious choice. Couple of different guys. Brian Robinson was my either Portier or him, either one. And so definitely all good choices. The punter, Mastromano, definitely. And, there's a little bit of everything that across the board on each side of the ball that you need guys to, take a big step up. And if they do, I think you'll, we're going to see the results on the win-loss column improve. So we'll keep, hope everybody, pays it off in the fall.
That's right. All right. Thank you much for the call. Good stuff, Wes. Talking about football in February, man. I will never complain about that. Thanks for the phone call, man.
Yeah, no doubt. Y'all have a good evening. And don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to Warchant. Drink your delicious DeLuna coffee.
There it is. There it is. Good job, Wes.
Sell it, Wesley. Sell it. Love it, man. All right. Let's keep it rolling, Corey. Let's grab a fan favorite. Let's grab Daryl, Thomasville, North Carolina. Tar Heels and Noles clashing later this week. Daryl, good evening to you.
How you doing, Aslan? How you doing, Corey? Good to talk to y'all again. I really didn't have a question per se this week, but Corey, I want to let you know I enjoyed your video about the wide receivers this week, and then I enjoyed the piece about the offensive line that Aslan and Gene did. I guess last couple of days with the offensive line, and I just want to let y'all know how much I enjoy listening, listening to it, watching that. Wes mentioned something about players to watch for. I know one guy that Coach Norvell was looking at last year before he got injured was Zane Herring on the offensive line. He was I think he was kind of impressive even before he got hurt. First part of the year. But that's one guy I wanted to throw out there to you. But I got my hotel booked for the spring game. I'm looking forward to coming down for the spring game. I called Florida State ticket office to check to see if if they taking ticket offers or what have you. They told me to call back the first part of March, so I'm looking forward to maybe coming down and seeing y'all for the spring game, Corey and Aslan and the rest of y'all Seminole fans. And I just wanted to say, I sure enjoy talking to y'all each and every week. And want to say, go Noles, drink your delicious diluted coffee, sign up for warchant.com, and hit that likes button, and go Noles, guys. Hope y'all have a great evening. And I just wanted to check in with y'all tonight. Let somebody else get on after that. Y'all have a good night, and God bless.
Let's go, Daryl from Thomasville, man. Let's go, Corey.
That was like a 2-minute soliloquy. That was straight out of we couldn't have written it any better. He complimented stuff we had done for the site. By the way, if you're not a member of Warchant, I just don't understand it. But yeah, I wrote a wide receiver preview for the spring. Gene wrote an offensive line one. There'll be others obviously coming as we get closer to spring practice. And then he was complimentary. He hit DeLuna. He hit the thumbs up button. I mean, he talked about everything. We couldn't have paid him we could have paid him $100, $5,000. He wouldn't have done any better than that. Great job, Daryl.
I will say on Zane Herring, I'm pretty sure it's a shoulder injury. He sustained a shoulder injury and had surgery on that. Those are especially tough for offensive linemen to bounce back from, I think, on a pretty quick timeline. Now, I know it was last spring, so it's been about a year. I'd probably pencil in Zane as maybe a guy to keep an eye on maybe in 2022. That's just me personally. When we haven't obviously seen him play at all, we haven't asked the coaches about him. But I'm one of those guys when it comes to players coming off injury, man. I'm a little bit skittish on depending on them for a while. But good sized kid, great program, country boy, all the kind of things you want to have on your offensive line. But maybe one more year from now.
Cool name too, Zane. You don't hear that enough anymore.
Strong, very strong name. Let's keep this bad boy rolling here. Shout out to Thomas Giddings. What is up, Thomas? Let's go.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Good evening. I'm finally asking a question. Awesome. Is there a discount code for HelloFresh? And if so, what is it?
Those are our favorite kinds of questions.
Yeah, we're talking Noles. It was Wake Up 10. I don't know if it's still active. I do know starting March, they're going to roll out a new one, which is Wake Up 12. So try Wake Up 10 or Wake Up 12. I would think Wake Up 12 might get you 12 free meals and shipping. But yeah, either Wake Up 10 or Wake Up 12. We would appreciate, do whatever you want, Thomas. I appreciate you asking the question. But try those out. Let me know if they work out for you. And who's that great family?
You should.
Shine one time.
And Thomas, that was we really appreciate the question. It's very nice of you to donate, to tip to us. But HelloFresh, man, is the truth. I guess I've only had 3 meals. It's time I re-up with them, but it's like real food. It's like they send you really good ingredients. You have to cook it. So, don't think you're just going to stuff it like I did initially. I'm like, I'll just throw this in the oven and we'll be eating in 25 minutes. It's not that, but they give you real ingredients to cut up and make and recipes and all that. It's really good.
Yeah. So shout out, Thomas. Appreciate you. If everyone asks a question about Florida State or Corey's deer stand in the backyard or anything, feel free. Feel free, man. We appreciate you, though. Thank you very much, Thomas. Let's keep it rolling here on YouTube. Eric Angel in the hizzy. Do people still say hizzy? I don't know. But I just did.
Bills,
deal with it. Aslan, Corey, I had a blast last week, although I was stuck for a whole week. You want me? I can ISO you out, Corey, if you got to do some stuff. I'll ISO Corey out as he works on stuff. Eric was stuck in Tallahassee the other week. Said he had a blast. Last Monday was fantastic. Got to see the women play as well despite that loss to Georgia Tech. Fun times, Tallahassee. Yeah, tell Corey about it so he comes back here more often.
So he was so you were stuck for the week, I guess, because he's not from Texas, is he?
No, I don't think so. No.
Yeah, but he was stuck. So that's cool, man. You got to see the men didn't have a home game, but you got to see the women pull off a huge upset. That's neat.
No, he's going to lose to Georgia Tech.
Oh, well, then never mind. Never mind. Forget what I said, Eric. I am now reading the question again. Another computer issue. I think I've got it resolved. We're all good. I apologize. Folks, guy, you're getting 100% from here on out. Gator Kirk's right. I'm not even stressing anymore. That's done with. I'm still not quite over him cussing. And now I add on this, the battery's running low, but I'm good. I'm here with you, Eric. And that's cool, man. You got to stay in Tallahassee. It's a great city.
It is. God's country, as someone once said. You should always be plugged in, Corey, when you're live. When you're plugged in, your computer will use more resources. It will help keep you running better.
Well, it was plugged in, and it somehow fell out of the computer. It's not my computer. I didn't notice till it said PC battery running low.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go down to. I'm gonna say we're on 2 strikes. One more thing happens. You're gonna have to tell us the manufacturer of the laptop.
This isn't that laptop. That laptop is I'm using Stephanie's. So
okay.
Who knows if I'll ever get to use that one again? It was fun while it lasted for those 6 days. It was great.
All right. Thomas is back. Thomas, what are you doing, man? You got a family to support. Appreciate you, though. He says thank you. Gives us another 25 American dollars. Just ordered DeLuna coffee for my wife. Keep up the great work. I want to let us know what you ordered, flavor-wise or bean-wise.
But do it without giving money.
Yes. Yeah.
You don't need to give money to tell us what you ordered.
Yeah.
But thank you again, man. That's too kind. You're too kind. Eric, you too, man. That's crazy. You guys are great.
Your audio's sounding kind of funky, Corey. You're like fading away on me.
Oh boy. Well, here we go. Right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You don't sound nearly as you don't have that timbre, that warmth in your voice that everybody loves. I wish I could hug you right now.
Trying to stress me out.
I wish I could hug you right now. It's okay. Hey, let's go back to the phone lines. Been waiting over 15 minutes. Okay, it's Jay from Daytona Beach. Jay wants to talk about somebody who has nearly as much swag as he does. Jay, welcome to the Terror Dome. Good evening to you.
Hey, fellas, how's it going? Almost as much swag.
Good, buddy. We're doing good.
Hey, listen, I don't want to talk about the 53 to zip or, Edward Waters. Anybody would have beat them 53 to zip. But I kind of want to revisit the whole Deion Sanders situation, only because every time they mention him in the national media, they mention Florida State along with it, and they talk about how we made a mistake and if we'll come to our senses, and I know the sentiment in most of the fan base is that people think that primetime is too self-centered to have that position. Now, me, I personally think different. I look at it more from and just to qualify myself, I was never on board with the Willie Taggart hiring. I didn't understand it. I do support Norvell, and I think he should have been hired when Willie Taggart was hired. But since primetime did have a great interview, according to him and the school, from a business standpoint, and if one thing that we've learned from COVID, at the end of the day, it's all about business. It's almost like investing in a stock. Do you guys think it would have been worth the risk and the potential reward to hire Deion Sanders as a coach then, or maybe in the future?
Well, look, we'll see. And nobody's a bigger Deion fan than I am. Like, legitimately, you can ask friends of mine. I had Deion posters. I had Deion pictures on my wall when I was 13, 14 years old. I love the dude. He was my first favorite athlete ever, him and Dale Murphy. But I don't know that you could ever I don't know that you can make a head coach of a guy that's never even coached before at the college level. I have no issue with Deion becoming a position coach right away. But to handing over the keys to a guy that you don't know if it's really his passion. if it's his livelihood. It's not his livelihood. He could fail and then be making 1.5 tomorrow being an analyst. It's hard to know with great players. And not just that, not that just he's a great player, but a great player that's never recruited before, a great player that's never had to doing everything that a head coach has to do: hiring, firing, disciplining. I just don't know that's such a I hate to say Jackson State is like a training ground, but it's a proving ground. If he does well there and runs a program and is there and shows that he'll be there for 2 or 3 years and experience failure and experience success, then yeah, I think eventually he becomes a name that you would think, that Florida State would certainly be interested if he can win at Jackson State, but it has to be for a few years. I don't know if I'm the AD and Deion tells me he wants to be the head coach. I just don't how serious are you, Deion? Like we're in a real pinch, dude. Like we're paying, as Gene pointed out, they're paying Willie Taggart $300,000 a month not to coach. So we have to be sure that you're for real invested in this and you're invested in this program and you plan on being here for 10 years. And this isn't just I don't want to say a midlife crisis, but this is something you really want to do because it took him so long to get into coaching that you wonder how passionate he is about it. But if he proves himself at Jackson State over a couple of years and they turn into a good program and he's winning 7 or 8 or 9 games and Norvell's so good, he wins 2 national championships and the 49ers hire him. And so Florida State has a vacancy. I think Deion would get a look, but I just wonder if he's still going to be coach, if he's okay coaching Jackson State in like 2023, or if he's going to if he's like, we'll see. We'll see with Deion.
And Corey, and before you get Aslan's take, because I definitely want to hear his take, I think that's where we're a little detached as Florida State fans. Like you say, he would get a look. Like all the other guys that you would get a look. When it comes, like we know that he coached high school and little league or whatever. So we know he has the passion for the sport, and we know that he had other professional options. But when it comes to experience and the resources and the potential income and notoriety that he could bring to Florida State, like I think it's kind of naive of us to overlook that and think we could find somebody that would be better qualified from a business standpoint for the Florida State brand, even if it is for a couple of years. If we can waste a couple of years on Willie Taggart, I'm pretty sure that what we would gain from Deion Sanders would be a little bit more than any damage or loss that we may sustain from if it doesn't work out.
But Jay, you would have been comfortable. Like he coached Prime Academy. He's helped out with kids forever. I'm not doubting his real feel for wanting to help kids. I mean, we all remember the Noel Divine from 12 years ago, or whenever that was. I don't doubt that he has a passion for the sport, but I don't know. This is a multi-million-dollar business, just for Florida State. Would you have felt comfortable with a guy that had never even coached college at all to give him to say, okay, this is your program? Because that to me, because if you're going to do that, why not Odell? Like Odell has more experience. I guess you're thinking the name recognition of Deion, which would help in the short term. Deion's name definitely helps in the short term. It still resonates. He hasn't played a football down in 15 years. He hasn't played at Florida State in 32, but his name still. You can shout it from the mountaintops. He's one of the most famous football players that's ever lived. I want to see that he college coaching is different than high school coaching, and it's different than coaching at your own academy. It's 100-hour weeks, and you really have to have not an ego, because you have to placate 17-year-olds that aren't anywhere close to as good as you'll ever be. You know what I mean? So how do you handle that? But I would have no problem with Deion on the staff. I'm just saying right away to hand over as a head coach when he's never been one, it's dicey, it's risky. But hey, man, Willie Taggart was risky. Norvell's risky. They're all risky at this point. So I see your point, and we'll see how he does at Jackson State, and I think that will tell us everything we need to know about what his future is in the profession. Aslan, what do you think? You just sat there. Just me and Jay talking.
There's no way they could have hired Deion Sanders. That just would have been absolutely foolish. I mean, like they would have been getting, everybody would have been celebrating it national media wise for like a day or two, and then everybody would start laughing at Florida State. Like, what are they doing? Hiring a guy who has no experience, who really only.
That's not I don't think that you can't worry about the perception of the national media. You've got to worry about what's best for your program. And people laughed at Jimbo. Jimbo was a D- from some people when he got hired. And Turner Gill was an A. I mean, those things don't really matter. It's can he do the job? And I would prefer, me personally, when you're Florida State, I would prefer somebody with more actual college coaching experience, because it's just such a different world than even he grew up, than Deion was a part of. But there's nothing that says he couldn't be awesome at it. Nothing. And he has such an ego that, in a good way, and he's such a competitor, and nobody practiced harder than Deion Sanders. So you would think the practice habits would be really good. And he's such a competitor that you wonder how quickly he can turn these things around, because he doesn't want to be embarrassed and he doesn't want to go 2-9. So yeah, it's interesting. And I think it might be something that comes up. He's only, what is Deion, 51, maybe?
Yeah. Let me see. I'll check it out. Gregory Moran's he's a big, we were rude, mean to Willie guy, so I'll give him some airtime. Yeah, man. If I'm not going to put a lot of stock in Deion having success in the SWAC, but yeah, I mean, if he coached in the Sun Belt and won the Sun Belt, that's why I was on board with Lane Kiffin. Like, I thought Lane Kiffin's second act of his career, going to FAU and winning a conference title, what he did at Alabama, stacking that stuff on top of each other, made him a legitimate candidate to be a head coach at Florida State. Yeah, if Willie can coach Division I and win a conference title, like, that would make him every bit as practical of a hire as Mike Norvell. But right now, I'm not going to compare an NFL career playing and one win over a SWAC, not even a SWAC program, and I think that's a Division II team, Edward Waters, to like what Mike Norvell accomplished. And I'm not a big Mike Norvell guy, and I'm not anti-Mike. Like, I wasn't that blown away by beating Cincinnati twice to win the conference title. But let's not get too ahead of our skis and start casting stones at people. I just think,
Jay, let's revisit this though, man. Let's revisit this because there's certainly a chance, if he really wants to be a coach, there's still a chance that we could be having the same conversation 2-3 years from now. It won't be this year, obviously. Yeah. Norvell's not going to get fired, but I do think that there's a chance, depending on how Deion does and how Norvell does, that maybe it's something we talk about in a year or two.
He's 53, by the way. 53.
Okay, yeah, I was close. Yeah, he's still a young man. Yeah. I have to say that now because I'm in my mid-40s, so 53 is still young.
Hey, Aslan.
Yeah, Jay.
Two things about that before I go, and I definitely want to revisit that, and possibly with like Ari and Gene and get their thoughts on that too, but at a later date. If you notice how people donate to the show, if we look at that and we look at how Jimbo was pushing for those resources, our fan base has the money to get whatever we want. And I think Jimbo knew that. And the reason I bring that up, with Deion as head coach, again, I'm talking about from a resource standpoint. And I really just think, like, in the position we were in, it could possibly help us. And the second point is, if you look at Brian McFadden, when you listen to him talk about the game, sometimes you think, well, darn, he knows more than some of our position coaches. So, like, Deion not having the coaching experience, quote unquote, playing in the league for over 10 years and a Hall of Famer, like, that supersedes, like, it's just like when a guy goes to the Army or the military, like, that can be the equivalent to, a college degree as far as experience is concerned. So, those are just things that I think we need to keep in mind when evaluating, our coaches down the road if we run into this situation again.
Yeah, I hope nobody doubts Deion's football knowledge. I mean, Jay's right about that. Again, I think but I also don't doubt. I mean, I don't doubt. There's plenty of coaches that haven't succeeded, like Jeremy Pruitt. I don't doubt his football knowledge. That guy, we saw it, Jay. That guy knows defense. He's been terrible at Tennessee. It's just different. It's different being the head guy, and there's no reason to think Deion can't do it. But I just, that's a big risk. But again, they're all big risks. And I think, yes, in the short term, it would help. That's just a big name. But yeah, we probably spent too much time talking about Deion coaching this team when it's not a reality here anytime soon. But it's interesting, man. These great players, I've been for the last 5 minutes trying to think of like a great player that in
Ray
football.
Perkins in Alabama. It's apples and oranges, but like what makes like Memphis okay with hiring Penny, Michigan okay with signing Juwan Howard? I think Juwan Howard was an assistant with the Heat, but like he wasn't a head coach. But I guess it's just such a smaller thing. Basketball, you're figuring you can recruit, like if you get James Wiseman like Penny did, you probably turn around that whole program. Like you can't just get Kayvon Thibodeau. Like if Willie would have got Kayvon Thibodeau, Willie's probably still not the head football coach of Florida State. I guess maybe that's why basketball programs are more willing to put their neck out. I mean, Memphis and Michigan have some pretty strong, tradition.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It happens in basketball. I can't think of it happening in football recently anyway, with a great, and that's not saying it shouldn't or couldn't. But I just haven't, I'm racking my brain. I haven't thought of a really great college or pro football player that had immediate success coaching college football.
Kirby Smart, baby. Kirby Smart.
No, he was not Deion Sanders. I can promise you that on the football field.
Trying to think somebody in the Pac-12. I don't know. Yeah. Something worth thinking about. Hey, Jay, come back on Thursday. We'll have happy hour at 5. I think Ira will at least be around. I don't think Gene will, but one of them will be around. Maybe they'll have a more articulate answer. But good question. We appreciate it, man. Way to keep us going on in February.
Hey, listen.
Yeah.
Drink the Luna coffee. Drink the Luna coffee. Drink the Luna coffee and go Noles.
That's right. That's right, man. It's Jay from Daytona Beach, Florida, man. We appreciate
it. The man. Good work, Jay.
Good provocative questions, and also, he's got some substance behind it. He's got some good reasoning to it. Now it's worth kind of considering, but I would have been absolutely against it. But now,
but again, there's nothing that say he can't do it. Like I'm sure there were Michigan fans that are like, what? Juwan Howard's never coached college basketball. He's never recruited. Spurrier is a good choice. Spurrier also didn't go straight to Florida. He had his own stepping stone. Florida did not hire him as soon as he got into coaching. They hired Galen Flippin Hall. So he proved himself at Duke, which is, Duke's probably So I think that Spurrier's a good one. Yeah, he was a really good won the Heisman, and then he turned out to be a pretty decent head coach. I don't know if you guys know this, though. I don't believe Spurrier ever won a game in Doak Campbell Stadium. Deion won a few, but I don't believe Spurrier ever did.
That's correct. That is correct. Let me try to find a question here on our YouTube page and have you maybe handle it, Corey. I got to dial back in to our phone bank. Phone number call just dropped out. Not having any luck, unfortunately. Somebody asked a really good question. That'd be pretty cool. Corey, what's the next? Actually, somebody asked if we were going to be like the equivalent of the quarterback room. There we go. Kevin Johnson. If the Warchant staff was represented by the current FSU quarterback room, who would be whom? Marinate on that one, Corey. I'll be right back.
I feel like I'm Jordan Travis because I'm just an exceptional athlete. I make people miss. Ira would be whoever the fifth string walk-on is, I guess. Aslan, Aslan's got a little fire to him. So I think Aslan might be the Mackenzie Milton, just because he's got a little fire, a little what for. I think he's going to get on to people if they don't perform well. And then Gene, I guess that leaves Gene as Chubba, and then Langston as Rodemaker. But mainly I'm Jordan Travis because I make something out of nothing. Like right now, like Jordan Travis scored a touchdown where he crossed over a guy with a fumble. He makes things out of nothing, much like I've done this show. Aslan has not helped me at all. Like I'm getting no blocking. My receivers are not getting separation. I'm doing my best. And Aslan's just sitting there letting me talk to Jay for 10 minutes about Deion Sanders.
Hey, man, don't be mean. Garrett's Noles in the house. Garrett, what's up, man? Thank you very much. Did you say I was Mackenzie? I'm flattered. Thank you, Corey.
Yeah, man. Well, you got a little. Yeah, I think you'd get on to people.
Yes.
I think Ira would get on to you, but in a more passive-aggressive way. I think you're just straight aggressive.
There we go. Hey, sorry I wasn't in the beginning of the show because I've got baseball practice, Garrett's Noles says, but I'm feeling pretty confident Travis Hunter is going to sign with Florida State.
Tell you what, every update, that kid, but see, here's the thing. What wasn't there, as confident as he is, there's no reason to doubt him. Again, he's this confident about this team when they went 3-6 the year before. So if they struggle again this year a little bit, it's not like that's going to be a stunner. And he's going to be like, oh, gosh, I thought I was signing with a champion. He knows what this program is right now. And he's shouting from the mountaintops about how much he loves them. So unless they go 0-11 or 0-12, it's going to be a better season. And he's already seems to be locked in and fully committed now after a 3-6 season. But was it the kid that had committed to Auburn and had a tattoo of Auburn on his body and then still flipped to Alabama the day of? Things happen. Kids are crazy. You watch these ESPN shows where the mom walks off stage because the kid signs with somebody she didn't want him to. So you never truly know until they're celebrating they get the facts, because it's still 1991. They get the facts, and then as Seminoles put up the Twitter celebration of Travis Hunter signing, I don't think anybody's going to be feeling 100% confident. But man, the way he talks him up, is that the kid? Who was that, by the way?
Reuben Foster. He went to Alabama.
Oh yeah, and he was pretty good if I remember correctly. Auburn could have used him.
Yeah.
That would probably hurt. Yeah, so he had an Auburn tattoo, and then still. So look, you never know. You can't say 100%. But the way he talks, it would almost now be stunning for him to pull a 180 and be like, no, I'm going to Georgia. Because it's not like he doesn't know that Georgia's pretty good and Kirby Smart's pretty good. That's not new information, and he's still 100% Florida State.
I still think they've got to win 7 games. They've got to show.
But why? He's all aboard now as a 3-win when they won 3.
Because you're projecting. It's like future earnings. Like you're going to date somebody because you're like,
but the 7, I guess, seems arbitrary. What if they just look better and they win 6 or 5, but they look better? They compete against Florida.
Yeah.
I think if he sees the positive trend and they don't just implode, because look, Georgia. I was going to say Georgia Tech.
Local pressure is a real thing, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Georgia fans, a lot of teachers at his high school are probably Georgia fans. If Georgia's en route to the college football playoff and Florida State's battling to make a bowl game, those kind of things can change. But what he said though has been really encouraging. He's not being coy. He's like, I know where I'm going. I know where home is. I'm going to Florida State. So it's a different kind.
The Georgia fans and the Clemson fans, not fans, the recruiters can rightly say, I'm not trying to take a shot, but do you want to go play with Adam Fuller? Do you even know who your next defensive coordinator is going to be? The defense, I do think the defense will have to show some improvement for sure. He likes
Marcus Woodson though. As long as Marcus Woodson's his DB coach, I think he'll be happy. But
yeah. That's what I'm saying. The secondary has to make some plays. Show this kid what he could be and how he could shine here. And then I think, but man, the way he talks, it sounds like the way he talks, it just doesn't matter. He's a Nole.
Yeah. We'll get back to the phone lines here shortly. I was able to dial back in, but check this out. Let's go. Rob M, let's go, man.
What? Bang! Bang!
Great cash, homie.
Man, Rob, 110 American. What is up? Hey, guys, great show as always. Well, that's a lie, but thank you. Thanks for making my drives to work in the morning better. This is Georgia Nole 92 on the Travel Council. My question is, who leads the team in tackles this season? As always, go Noles, and thanks for all y'all do. Linebacker, defensive.
I'm going to say Emmett Rice.
Okay, I'll take that.
And a sneaky, I'm going to throw a name out of the dark that I think has a chance maybe, Travis J.
Ooh.
He's a sneaky kind of sleeping on him a little bit, but I think there's a chance he could rack up some tackles this year. Rob, that's very, very nice, man. Not called for. You're the best. Thank you so much. That's a very nice thing to do.
I was trying to play music.
It's
110. It's 110 American. Confirmed. I'll say Renardo Green as dark horse, but I co-sign Emmett Rice.
I was just thinking about Deion because Ed Reed's not a coach, right? What is his job with Miami?
Chief of staff.
But does he? I wonder if he wants to be a coach, and they didn't have room for him because you wouldn't. I don't know that you'd say no to Ed Reed, but maybe that's just kind of the role he wants right now. Because I wonder if he. Because again, I'm just. And Steve Spurrier was great in college, but I'm trying to think of straight Canton guys from Canton that coach college football. It's just I'm not coming up with a ton of them.
Josh Heupel.
Yeah, again, see, I'm still not coming up with a ton of them. The great Josh Heupel. He was like the Deion of quarterbacks, right? Josh Heupel.
Yeah, I can't think of. I mean, and Miami's had turnover on their defensive staff, and Ed Reed hasn't moved to an on-field position, so maybe he doesn't want to have that much responsibility on his plate. At least maybe not now. But yeah, if anybody's got are we counting NFL career, or are we just talking about like bona fide star either at college or the NFL level?
No, I think right now I'm talking about like a great pro career too. That I'm just thinking straight up of Canton.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't seem like those guys typically get into coaching, and it took Deion a good while to get into like straight college coaching. So yeah, I wonder what prompted that, but yeah, man, I hope he succeeds. Like I said, there's not a bigger Deion fan than me.
Rob, hey man, thank you very much. Much obliged. Can't say it enough. You guys are all awesome, and the ladies as well. Mark Adam checks in the house. What's up, Naples? Make some noise. Dollar bills, y'all. My boys, let's go. Mark Adam checking Naples asks $50. Hey, Mark, thanks. You're the man. You are the man. By the way, Mark, meant to say, so DeLuna Coffee, our title sponsor, who we love, by the way, Brett, son of Ed. Ed's like the taste guy. He's got the taste buds. He's got the palate, the vision. But I think Brett's like, he's like the money guy. He's the business ops guy. He has a JD from Tulane, which I think you do as well, Mark. So let's see if we can network everybody. Let's get the green wave. Let's get the band back together. Anywho, question, what upset do you think we pull off in 2021, gentlemen? Notre Dame, Clemson, or Florida? Or more than one? Love what you guys do. Go Noles.
Well, because it is what it is, Florida State will be on the road for those other two games. They'll get to play. They might get to play Clemson and Florida again at home at some point in our lifetimes. We'll see when that is. I started Notre Dame to me is the best opportunity, and I'm not saying it's a great one, but it's a first game on the road. We're assuming it's going to be a packed stadium. Let's go. Just a couple more months, guys. It'll be a packed stadium, and it's a new quarterback making his first start. They're bringing in. It's a lot of new players. That was a senior-laden team. They're going to be good because it's Notre Dame, but I feel like that's a good shot. That's a good shot to have a chance in that one. Maybe better than later on in the year when they won't know how to scout Mackenzie Milton and what he looks like in this offense. And so and what are they going to do with Jordan Travis? There's a lot of gamesmanship that Florida State can have in that one that maybe not so much later in the year. Plus they won't be on the road. They'll be at home. And I think that energy will be pretty exciting, but it'll be an energetic crowd for the first time. Well, I hate to bring this game up, but the 2018 Virginia Tech game. So let's hope it ends better than that. Let's hope they score a touchdown. But that to me is the one that's the best chance at it.
Ira was telling me that they didn't sell out that game, or like it was not as well attended as they were expecting the Virginia Tech game. I thought that place was rocking, man. I mean, it was in Oklahoma 2010, but that opener against Virginia Tech, first game of Taggart's tenure, that place was rocking. It was different. It felt different, man.
Especially compared to what we've seen since.
Yeah.
Mark, you're the man. Thank you, buddy.
I'm gonna say Clemson. Your manhood's been challenged.
Yeah.
I think Clemson maybe overlooks you. Clemson, I know the last few years they've run the table in the conference, but Pitt beat them a few years back. Syracuse beat them a few years back. We'll see how good DJ Uiagalelei is. It's your money game if you're Mackenzie Milton. It's your tape. Start throwing lasers all over the place. Work yourself into a first-day pick. Second-day pick probably. I don't want to disagree with everything you're saying. Wisconsin quarterback Jack Cohn, who got hurt, he transferred to Notre Dame, so he'll be their starting quarterback, most likely. So.
Oh, okay. All right.
The guy that scared Alex Hornibrook away to come to Tallahassee.
Oh, all right. Okay. Why? So he got hurt at Wisconsin this past year?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
It's crazy. Like Hornibrook kind of had a falling out, and then Cohn stepped in. But it's just crazy, man. Like you have the starting job, you lose it, guy shines brighter than you, and you're like a piece. Like JT Daniels at Southern Cal. Like he got hurt. He was the guy. Keaton Slovis comes in, does pretty good. And he's like, all right, I'm out of here. Like it wasn't like Keaton Slovis set the world on fire. He didn't break any records. But you're gonna.
But I think he knew that he had lost, that he wasn't the guy going into that. And it's like, well, I can go somewhere else and not play at Georgia for 2 months. until Kirby's like, oh, I guess I'll stop throwing this dude out there that throws it sidearm. I'll put the 6'5" guy out there.
Mark, as Corey said, you're the man. We appreciate you. Thank you so much, Mark. Your support's awesome. A.R. Mendez, I'm a high school sophomore wanting to try out for football next year, but I never played for a team before. I want to be a quarterback, but think I have a better chance at wide receiver. Advice. All right, well, first off, A.R. Mendez, shout out. Just so you know, Drew Brees never played football until his freshman year of high school. Things turned out okay for him.
I don't think Drew wanted to be had a better chance at wide receiver, though.
What's that?
So, I don't think Drew would have been a wide receiver wherever he was playing, wherever in Texas he was going to high school. He went to a big one, right, Drew? He went to one of the good ones.
Westlake. Yeah, Austin Westlake, yeah.
I mean, look, I'm not the best person to ask about something like that. I don't know that either one of us are. I think you want to make yourself indispensable, which means show them that you need to be on the field in some capacity or not. You might want to play quarterback, but they might not need you to play quarterback. So do what they ask. You can tell them, like, I think I'm a quarterback, but if you think you have a better chance at wide receiver, to me, that means you're a pretty good athlete. So they will see that with you playing quarterback. And you can say, look, I think I'm a quarterback, but I can also play wide receiver if you need me there. I think that's the way to handle it. Show them that you're a team player. You obviously have individual goals, and you don't have to sacrifice everything for the team if this is really what you want. But I would say tell them that you think you're a quarterback, you would like to try out quarterback, but you are also willing to play wide receiver if they need you there. And I think that's exactly what a coach wants to hear. And then you go earn the job.
I mean, that's well said. That's spoken like a dad. Who knows what he's talking about? Who's got a?
Well, no, with Brady, I just give a lot of money to the school, and he's the starting quarterback. That's what. So AR, if you want to start tipping the coach, I don't know if he has his own YouTube show, but tip him some. That might help your chances. But for real, man, good luck. I hope that works out. I would practice both, honestly. You got a long time until football starts again, at least a few months. So practice both and work a lot at it, and hopefully you get on the field.
Let's hop back here in the queue. Let's take a phone call. Thanks for the tip, AR, and best of luck to you, man. Let us know. Please do keep us updated on that. Let's go to the Rocky Mountain West, Denver, Colorado. Jalen wants to talk about quarterbacks. Speaking of where to line up, Jalen, what's on your mind, man?
What's up, man? What's up? It's actually like 70 degrees up here in Denver. I think the world's about to end. It's weird.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
I'd have made this trip back to Cali soon, though.
Yeah,
so
man.
That's always fun. Big drive.
Yeah, man. That's Corey. That's like going to the store and picking up some milk for Corey, though.
No biggie. No biggie.
All right. So, quick question, right?
Yep.
With this staff and obviously all the players in it, and completely empty out the quarterback room. To get the 8 wins, you have Drew Weatherford, Chris Ricks, and Wyatt Sexton in your quarterback room. Who's the best option to get you the 8 wins? And the second part to that question, if any of you guys got the chance to interview those 3, who was your favorite to interview?
I only interviewed Weatherford.
I wrote a book about Drew Weatherford, so I have to say him. I wrote a book in 2004 with Ira about recruiting, and Drew Weatherford was one of the main people in it, featured in it. So I would definitely say him. He was really good with his time, a really bright kid. I think to win 8 games, that's the question, right? Who out of those 3 would we take to win 8 games? There it is right there, signing day by Corey Clark and Ira Schafel. Darius Walker from Notre Dame was in it. Where'd you get that from? Is that the site? Is that the website?
That's Amazon, man. It's Amazon.
Look at that. There you go. So, guys, it's right there. Go buy it. I don't think I'd even get a penny of that. It's a cool photo, though, right?
Yeah.
I set that up myself. I didn't take the picture. I had a photographer friend of mine that I worked with in the newspaper take the picture. But I thought that turned out really well.
An inside look at the high-pressure, high-stakes world of college football recruiting.
Yeah, so we had Brad Allen, who signed with Vanderbilt. We had a kid from Thomasville named Eric Walden, who was recruited to Georgia as a wide receiver but wanted to play quarterback, so he went Division II. And then Darius Walker, who was the star of the book, clearly played running back in Notre Dame, and then Drew Weatherford. So it was a cool book. And John Lilly. We had John Lilly was a chapter recruiting coordinator. So it was all pretty cool. So yeah, it's only 16 years old. It's not dated at all. Go out there and read that and
write a review for it, everybody.
And yeah, just give a bunch of 5-star reviews. That might help. But I would say, to me, man, I think Ricks is the guy to get you to 8 wins. Weatherford and Sexton. Look, I just don't know that Wyatt, as it seemed to prove over the course of his career at Florida State, was not somebody you could depend on to be a team leader. Weatherford, I think you could. I just don't know how overly talented he was. Ricks had the talent. If he'd have been coached better, and maybe basically if he'd have been coached better. I was going to say if he had better people around him. It's like, come on, man. He had Anquan, Javon. He had some players around him. I would say Chris Ricks is the guy. As maddening as he could be at times, remember, he was the best year he had. Again, I've said this before. The best year he had was 2001, and that's when he was freshest from the Mark Richt coaching. And if Mark Richt had coached him for 3 or 4 years, I think you see a different quarterback.
I still think he did better in 2003, man. But yeah, I mean, Chris Ricks is like a modern quarterback. I think both those guys are throwbacks at this point. I mean, Drew Weatherford, I don't think fits into what Mike Norvell wants to do. I mean, Weatherford's probably a comp to, Tate Rodemaker. I think Tate's maybe a little bit more athletic. And then White Sexton, no one can ever take away 2004 Virginia from him. But
that's true.
That was kind of it. That was about it. And that shooting star went, and then it quickly faded. Good question though, Jalen. I like it though. Who do you think? You going with Ricks, or did you want to go? Are you going to go with somebody else?
You know what? I'm a Ricks guy. I guess it's kind of throwback to me. I'm only 25, about to be 26. Go ahead. But Jesus, feels like he's coming in here. But yeah, it's I'm going with Ricks. There's Adrian McPherson in the mix. Does that change your mind at all, or would you still?
It's funny you mentioned him because I was just thinking about if I had my druthers, McPherson's the guy I take out of all of them. I think talent for talent, just the way he spun it. He was a good athlete. Obviously, he was a great basketball player too. I think that's the guy. Obviously, we know the trouble he got into. But even before the trouble he got into, it wasn't like he was setting the world on fire when he got his chances. Again, though, I think if Adrian McPherson if he just doesn't have Jeff Bowden and Daryl Dickey as his coach, if it's Mark Richt or somebody of that ilk that can just coach better, I think Adrian McPherson had a chance to be a very good college quarterback. I mean, he had an incredible arm. The games where he, the time he came in against Notre Dame when it was out of reach, he looked like the best player on the field. And he's a great – there's a lot of what ifs when you're at a program like Florida State, because especially back then, you'd get the best of the best, and some panned out, some didn't, like Jared Jones and people like that. But Adrian McPherson to me will always be a what if, because that dude just had an incredible arm and size and obviously athletic ability, vision. He was a point guard. It just never – obviously, we know what happened off the field, but even on the field, like I know he beat Georgia Tech one game, but he was like 9 out of 30. It just never seemed to come together for him. But that's my guy. If I'm picking one of those to try to get to 9 or 10 wins, and they're all starting on the same level, Adrian McPherson is my guy.
Still taking Ricks. Jalen, thanks for the call, man.
All right, man. Get your DeLuna and all that other good stuff. And I'm praying for Trent to get on the field or on the court. Need to see Trent Forrest play, man. I miss that guy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, have a good one, though.
Thank you, man. That's Jalen in Denver, Colorado, tapping the Rockies. We got one more caller. We'll get to them here shortly. Thanks for hanging tight there. Let's get some of these folks dropping bones on us on the YouTube page. Redbeard. You get a little two-horn action there. $24.99. Hey, Redbeard.
Thank you so much, buddy. And don't ever apologize. We would have read your question without a tip, man. Don't apologize for that. Come on.
Sorry I can't tip as much. Stop it. Knock it off. Can you please explain to me how a guy like Barnes is a deadlock for the NBA draft, but we think RaiQuan Gray has a 50-50 chance, if at all, to make it? Educate me, gentlemen.
Well, I would answer the question, but you didn't tip enough.
Hey,
next question.
Let's go.
Look, Barnes. They have similar skill sets in the sense that they're both tall guys that are really good passers that can handle the ball. The difference is, I think, just the overall athleticism. Barnes' athleticism, we know, translates to the NBA on both ends of the court. That is a guy that can go coast to coast. He is a guy that can see over the defense. You know that plays. I think RaiQuan can play at the next level. I think he can be drafted. But if you go watch an NBA game tonight or tomorrow or whenever and try to find other guys on the court with the same body shape as RaiQuan Gray. There's just not a lot of them. And he's in good shape now. But they don't look like him. That doesn't mean it can't happen. There are some. But guys that are wing players, like there might be a stocky, husky center in there. But a wing player, which is what he'd be. He'd be a forward. There aren't a ton of those guys that look like that. But he is reshaping his body. It's still in the process. He's in better shape than he's ever been. You got to think that's going to continue to get like that. And if I just think, man, his skill set, I think the biggest difference between the two, because RaiQuan's a good passer too. He's not Scotty Barnes. I think Scotty Barnes is an elite passer, especially for his height at 6'9", better ball handler, better defender, and more than anything, just his athleticism plays at that level. RaiQuan's more of a mystery with his athleticism. Like, you don't see, RaiQuan's had some dunks. RaiQuan doesn't jump over people like Scotty Barnes does. So to me, that's the biggest difference between the two. But look, man, I think they're both probably NBA. I don't think RaiQuan is a 50-50 guy anymore. I think he might be 50-50 to come back next year because, he could maybe get in even better shape, prove that he can shoot the three, have even more responsibility on the court. But yeah, man, I think I don't think it's a 50-50 chance to make the NBA. I think it's better than that now at this point. He'll find a role somewhere, but he won't be a lottery pick like Scotty Barnes probably will be, just because of the athleticism. Like, Barnes' athleticism isn't normal.
3 seed on the bracketology I saw recently. And I think Lenardi has them on the same side as Gonzaga, but they would see each other in the Elite Eight. But I like everything else from there. They were 3 seed. I think they would get like Missouri if it was chalk in the next round.
Yeah, I think I'm actually writing a story about that tonight because they play Miami tomorrow night. And Miami, if you guys haven't been paying attention, is not good this year. Likes is done for the year. They lost their backup point guard. He's out. He's done for the year with a back injury. They already are missing 3 other guys. They just lost to Georgia Tech by 30. So I'm not going to really write a game preview. I'm going to write more about like where Florida State stands in the bracketology and the NCAA tournament talk. Because I think if they win out, and then also win the ACC tournament, whatever that ends up looking like, I think they could they maybe could sneak in as a 1 seed. I think their ceiling is probably a 2. But right now, if say they win 4 of the next 5 or whatever, they end up 18-4. I think they're a 3 seed, which is a really good seed. That would be that tie for the highest seed they've had in Leonard's tenure. I think they would have been a 2 last year, but as we all know, that didn't happen.
Who is it? So it's Gonzaga, Baylor, Ohio State,
Michigan. Yeah, Michigan for sure, because Michigan just beat Ohio State. So those are the 3. It'd be cool if they got to play C.J. Walker again, old Florida State guy that's now a point guard for Ohio State and leads the country in free throw shooting.
All right. Caller, we're going to get you here next, I promise, but we got a special guest.
Guys, this is a very special occasion. The Godfather himself has been kind enough to grace us with his presence. The Godfather. This is his damn house. He lives here. He sleeps 20 feet away.
It's Ed Lemix, $24.99 the tip jar, Ed. We appreciate you, man. I'm going to throw that right back at you. Maybe get some of that, what was it, 1566? I forgot the vintage of that Tony was talking about. 1559. Maybe get some of that coffee in my life. The Beach and Blend's been killing it. Ed asks, are there any recruits we can still get for the 2021 class? Remember to hit the thumbs up button. Correct. Sign up for Warchant. Correct. And drink DeLuna coffee. They're saving 1 spot, Ed. They're saving 1 spot. Probably an offensive lineman. I don't know, though, Corey. I've said it a billion times. If I haven't said it, a trillion times. You're waiting for a guy that's either going to have a clash personality-wise with his coaching staff, or he's going to get kicked off the team for some reason. Actually, they wouldn't bring him on in that case. You're getting a guy that's probably not winning his starting job at his current school is where they're at right now. If you haven't gotten a transfer right now, you're basically waiting on a guy that's going to lose his job in the spring, it seems like.
Yeah, it's a little when it comes to that at this time. Yeah, there could be some. I mean, I think there's still a chance. Like Devontae Love Taylor didn't lose his job.
Yeah, but he committed like in December, like January. Like he was on like right now.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. If you do it now, you're like, okay, what's the difference between March? What happened in March that didn't happen in January or December? That's a good point. But look, man, if some offensive tackle at Alabama thinks he's a sophomore, he's a 5-star, he sees again the writing on the wall that this other super duper guy in front of him isn't, he can't beat him out. You'll take that guy in a heartbeat. Yeah. I would think that there's 2 or 3 linemen at Alabama that wouldn't start for them that would certainly start at Florida State. Maybe 5, I don't know. So, again, just start reaching out to those guys. They're on Twitter, right? They're on Instagram. You can Snapchat those guys.
All right, we're going to take this.
Blue Angel, by the way. I was just asking Stephanie. That's what she drank this morning. Was the Blue Angel blend.
Ooh, that's.
And she really liked it.
That's bold. I don't know. It's what is it? The blue. It's like it will keep you flying high with precision all day. I feel like it's going to make my heart beat out of its chest cavity. But
well, she was doing cartwheels when I woke up. It really got to her. But yeah, there you go.
These are K-Cups, everybody. So even if you don't have a drip coffee maker, you got a Keurig or whatever, they got you covered with a K-Cup. Hey, I think I can say this guy is a fan favorite, although this is his second appearance on the show. We got Ralph in Hawaii joining us. Ralph, Mekaleki, Mekahai, or Mahalo, rather. How are you, Ralph?
I am truly blessed. Aloha. How's it, guys? Obviously, I'm a big fan of the show. I love it. Real quick, I want to shout out to Ed. I get my DeLuna coffee delivered tonight. I can't wait for Southern Pecan Pie going through the house in the morning. Ooh. I'm so excited. Today is a very special day in the history of the Marine Corps, which you might remember I'm retired from. Today in history, 1945, we raised the flag on Mount Suribachi on Iwo Jima. And the flag raising image that is popular throughout the world was the second flag raising. The first flag raising was actually done by Technical Sergeant Ernest Thompson from Tampa, Florida. So I wanted to give a shout out to our fellow Floridian who actually raised the first flag on Iwo Jima on this day in 1945.
Look at that, man. Well, this is Ralph. Second one then, Ralph. So what I'm showing on the screen right now, Ralph, the iconic one that we all know, have grown up seeing, that was actually the second photo taken, you're saying?
Yeah, didn't the photographer ask him to do it again because they missed it the first time?
No, the first flag wasn't big enough to be seen across the island, so the Marine General wanted an even larger flag, which that's why we did the second raising. The first flag raising, which history has almost forgotten, was headed up by Technical Sergeant Ernest Ivy Thompson from Tampa, Florida. Oh. So again, shout out to our fellow Floridian. That got me thinking about this. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm saying I'm from the Tampa area. I've never found that out. How come they didn't teach us this in school? But I digress. Carry on.
They have a school named after him.
I don't know. There's a statue in Monticello, Florida of Ernie or Ivy Thompson. So if anybody's in that area, please stop by and show some love for a veteran and a man that sacrificed everything for us. My question is, we're going to have plenty of time for me to, obviously find out what you think of this team. We're going to get our over-unders as we watch spring practice and see how practice goes. I wanted to know specifically, who is on your Mount Rushmore of college football?
Oh, like that's general. So not coaches, not players, but just college football in general.
No, sir. The players that impacted college football that you would put up there saying that they changed football or they had such an impact they deserve to be on the four-face monument of college players.
Man, I don't want to be a bummer. I mean, did anybody from Florida State change the way the game was played? Janikowski,
yeah,
legged kicker.
Man, that's a hard one.
I would argue that Charlie Ward is the reason we have the offenses we have today. But that would just be an argument or a debate that I would have. So I got Charlie as one of my 4.
Yeah, I think you could put him there. Maybe it's the Georgia being from Georgia, but I think Herschel is at least in the discussion for it because of what he did for 3 years. Look, golly, that's tough. I keep wanting to say Deion. I think what Deion did for that position, that was his whole goal. Was I want cornerbacks to be paid and to be appreciated like wide receivers. And so he created this whole image. It wasn't really him. Like Deion was a really hard worker that didn't say much at practice, but he had this whole persona and then changed kind of the way DBs just handled themselves on the field, like just the way they carried themselves. I guess we can't do it all Florida State, but Deion and Charlie are really good ones. But God, there's got to be.
I've got Lawrence Taylor because I think he absolutely changed the way we use that linebacker, and he changed the way offenses accounted for people.
Yeah.
So I've got Lawrence Taylor on mine.
That's accurate. I ain't going to fight you on that one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good one too. Because of what he did, he could be on the. You might put Lawrence. You might put LT on the Mount Rushmore of football in general, like what he did for the sport for 2 positions. Number one, for what he did for the defensive position, the linebacker coming off the edge, the defensive end, and then for offensive tackles, left tackles. He made them like one of the most valuable commodities in sports.
Absolutely.
Aslan, you got any?
And I was gonna have a 4th, but it sounded like earlier you guys already reserved that for Josh Heupel, so I can't take my 4th one.
Oh man,
Heupel's not appreciated nearly enough, Ralph. He changed the game. That's I wish you'd asked that at the beginning of the show, and then I would have had an hour to think about it because that's really hard. There are so many great players.
Like I don't want to go all the way back to like Doak Walker, but like maybe like Earl Campbell. But I don't know.
You think about like Red Grange, if you want to go way back. His games were more popular in Chicago than the Bears games. Like he was one of the reasons college football, Jim Thorpe too, but they were one of the reasons college football became this huge sport. But it was pre-integration, so great. Like I almost don't want to count anything before integration. Jim Thorpe's a good one, but it's like it didn't change college football enough, clearly. Yeah, that's a tough one, man. That's a Jim Brown. I mean, when you think about Jim Brown and what he did at Syracuse, where still for 15 years, some schools weren't integrated, and Jim Brown's running over fools for 3 years, and also a great lacrosse player. I think you could put Jim Brown. Jim Brown would certainly be in the running too and Ernie Davis, both those guys at Syracuse. I think Ernie Davis won the Heisman, right? But Jim Brown didn't. But either way, those guys were very, very instrumental, I think, in what later happened in the 60s and early 70s.
Oh, Walter Payton.
That's a great man. Hey, that's a tough question. There's a lot of really good football players over the years, man. That's a tough one to narrow it down to 4.
We like it, though. It makes us talk about football in February, Ralph.
Yeah, I really appreciate you guys taking my call. Mahalo. And
before you go, Ralph,
yes, sir.
Did you ever see the Pacific on HBO? That the not a documentary, but the series?
Yeah.
Okay.
I filmed it out here, and they came to our base, and the actors sat with us for episode 1. Yeah, it was a really big deal out here. I did see that. Yes, sir.
Oh, good. Yeah, I watched it when it came out, and then for some reason about 3 months ago, I just rewatched the whole series on a whim. And then, Iwo Jima's a part of that. Guadalcanal is a huge part of that. And you're like, good grief. Like, here I am. An hour ago, I was stressing because my computer wasn't working. And then you think about what those dudes did, the dudes on Iwo Jima, and just everything they did for everyone, really, the whole world, but specifically for us. So, yeah, I don't know why I said that, but it's an awesome show. If none of y'all have seen it, you should go see it. And, Ralph, you're the man.
Okay, well, I'm going to hang up. I know you guys want to close out the show, so I'll say Go Noles, and most importantly for me, go Warchant. Hoorah.
Appreciate that, man. Indeed. Hoorah. That's Ralph, everybody. He's a Tallahassee boy, but he lives out in Hawaii right now, living the good life. Retired Marine, living it, soaking it up, man. Hawaii, which I have not been to, but Corey's been to twice. Because that's how Corey rolls. All right, we got to get to the rest of these folks on YouTube that have been generous with their questions, their time, and the compensation they've been throwing at us, man. We got Carter Starnes in the crib. He wants to talk hoops, so this is your account, Corey. But I'll play a little music in the background.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Thoughts on Cleveland and Jalen Worley? Carter Starnes, by the way, $24.99 in the jar. Thank you, Carter. Thank you very much, man. Welcome. First time I think we ever heard from you. Where are you from? Let us know. What do you think about them being snubbed, becoming a burger boy, a.k.a. McDonald's All-American? And who is your MVP so far for the basketball team?
Yeah, I saw that today. I didn't know how much of a shot Worley would have, just because he plays on a really loaded team that he'll have like 12 points and 6 assists. So I don't know how impressive the numbers sometimes matter in these things when there's like 5 guys vying for the last 2 spots. I was surprised. I thought Cleveland would. He's been incredible this year. I know that because he plays in my area where I live up here half the time near Atlanta. So I was kind of surprised he didn't make it. But I don't think Patrick Williams was a McDonald's All-American either. Oh. And he turned out all right. So it's okay. Look, Devin Vassell certainly wasn't. He's a 5-star. He's really good. He will help out immediately next year. So that – and, hey, maybe he comes in with a chip on his shoulder. It certainly didn't – it helped – maybe it helped Patrick Williams. Like, oh, that's awesome. All those guys that made the McDonald's All-American game, that's great. I was the 4th pick in the draft. So congratulations on y'all's weekend and whatever city you were in and playing in that meaningless exhibition game. So maybe it fuels the fire. I think with Matthew Cleveland, it might. Jalen Worley, man, he's a guy that, again, I think he's a 10.6 assist guy. Really good player. I'm not saying he isn't, but he's not going to overwhelm you with numbers, not even at the high school level. And the MVP of the team so far to me is RaiQuan Gray. Just does so many things on both ends of the court. And MJ, like they can win a game where MJ goes scoreless. A lot of that is because of my man RaiQuan.
Well said. I agree with the MVP pick.
I was talking about this on headlines too, by the way, Aslan. So you throw in Worley, they got John Butler. I think he's a top 100 kid. Obviously, they got Matthew Cleveland. And the same thing that we think should apply for football, if they accounted for Caleb Mills, like Caleb Mills was a preseason conference player of the year in a real conference. So I think Florida State right now has the number 3 or number 4 class on Rivals. But if you saw Caleb Mills' name there, but he would be a 5-star, at least a high 4-star, but probably a 5-star. He was a freshman of the year in a real conference. It was going to be the preseason player of the year. They'd have the number 1 class in the country coming in next year. I think you can clearly say nobody has more talent coming into their program next year than Florida State.
We got a kid from Mariana on the what's going on here?
Yeah, he's been around a while. I think he was a signee a year ago, and he maybe went to a prep school. Maybe.
Chipola. There we go. All right.
Oh, junior college, JC. There you go.
Yeah. All right. That makes
7'3". You got to love Leonard and the big guys.
Girthy. Hey, Carter, thanks again, man. We do appreciate it. What? Willie Johnson showing up. What's Willie? What are you doing?
What? Bang! Big ballers.
What?
Making my ends.
I mean, I shouldn't be surprised. It's what Willie does. But Willie, say something. He just drops $150 and leaves.
Just give a shout out to somebody special in your life.
Like, what's it like partying with Willie, do you think? Like, does he say, hey, I can't make it, but he finds out where you and your friends are going anyways, and he just shows up and, like, pays the tab without you even knowing, and then you're like, Willie.
Yeah. He shows up in a helicopter. Yeah. He asks you weirdly, like, hey, man, I know I can't make it, but does that place, just out of curiosity, is that place you're at, does it have a helipad? Like, does it have a helipad? Just let me know. No reason. No reason. Just seeing if it has a helipad. Yeah, those are the people you want to be friends with. Big Willie.
100.
Man, yeah, seriously, next time, tell us how you became a Florida State fan at least. Tell us everything.
Yeah, tell us something besides that. Corey's always wanting to know how. Everybody watched us win. Somebody saw Renegade plant the spear and then beat a team that was ranked in the top 10 and then win a national title. That's how everybody became a Florida State fan.
Do you think Florida State will – do you think what happened, the slide you can paint back to Renegade falling at the Orange Bowl? mean, they haven't been the same program since. And I don't want to blame an animal.
I thought it was the Aguayo block in Atlanta.
No, I think it might be Renegade falling at the Orange Bowl.
No. You lose Georgia Tech, you lose to Houston. You know, everything changed that night. I was there for it.
Yeah, me too, buddy.
I don't like it. Willie, hey man, thank you.
Too kind, Willie. Thank you so much, though, man. For real, thank you.
Garrett's Noles is back. Garrett, you don't have to throw $10 again, man. I appreciate you regardless. You know, you can just ask your question. I'll see it. I am feeling really confident that we will win against Notre Dame because, please correct me right here, didn't Notre Dame lose like 4 or 5 starters on their offensive line? Yes.
Yes, at least 3, but I think 4. And then they lost their quarterback, who was good, who was a really big part of their offense. They got that running back though.
That running back's still there.
And they lost their best defensive player. I can't remember his name. I think he was number 6. Yeah. But I can tell you that all the guys on the Florida State offense remember him. That dude was everywhere.
Yeah. I saw like him make a hit, and Jeremiah. I can't say it. Owasu. I'm not even say it. I'm gonna screw it up. But I saw somebody tweet it out like he just led with his shoulder and just I think it was LaDamian Webb and just tackled him like really cleanly, just shoulder right in the chest. And somebody was like, "Young players, don't tackle like this. You'll hurt your shoulder, and it's not like a good method of tackling." It's like, hey man, the guy knew what he was doing. It worked out all right.
Jeremiah gets to tackle however he wants. Was that his name, Jeremiah?
I think so. Yeah, and their 2 tackles were ridiculously graded high too by Pro Football Focus. So it's not that they're just losing starters on their offensive line; they're losing really good talent.
Yeah, and look, they're going to be good. They're Notre Dame. They don't recruit below average offensive linemen, so the guys coming up behind them are probably pretty good. But again, there's something about game experience. There just is. Notre Dame will be the worst Notre Dame will play, you would think. The least confident Notre Dame will be, you would think, is that first game of the season. So that's when you want to get them.
Yeah.
Now, would it help if Florida State didn't always start with teams like that? Sure. But, hey, in this instance, it might work. You can't lose every season opener, Aslan. Eventually, you got to win one of these.
You're right. Trying to pull it up here. It's funny enough. I know we got to go. It's a late show. I can't find the guys here on the list. These guys are Pro Football Focus, graded out by blocking and allowed pressures. I don't see anybody from Notre Dame on here, but I do see 22nd, Devontae Love-Taylor.
Yep.
Look at that. Yep. Look at that. That's good stuff. Appreciate the question, Garrett's Noles. Thank you very much. We're winding things down here. We got Khalil Young. What's a show without Khalil asking us a question about the good old days? Let's get to it, Khalil. Shout out, man. Thank you very much, Khalil. Hanging tight, patient, and then on brand as well. So it's like you're consistent. We like that. I remember the wide receivers from 14-16 were looked down upon by a lot of people. Names like Kermit, Bobo, Rudolph. Who do you think State's supposed to be? Tate?
I don't know. I was wondering that too.
Tate?
Maybe Tate. Could be Auden Tate, I guess, but I don't think he was looked down. But yeah, probably that makes the most sense.
They were good at one thing we've needed this season, and that's getting yak. Were they underappreciated?
Well,
compared to
looking back on it, compared to what Florida State was this past year, they would have given 2 left arms to get a Kermit or a Bobo. I think the problem with that receiving core, there was no diversity. It was all 5'10", 6-foot guys that you couldn't throw jump balls to. Kermit, as fast as he was, it's not like you threw a lot of bombs to him. Bobo too. So it seemed to me it was 3 slot receivers.
Yeah.
Good skills with very similar skill sets. Rudolph, I think, was the best of the bunch. He was the guy I think they played out wide more. He had a cup of coffee in the league. I guess Bobo did too.
Yeah.
Looking back on it, they would have loved to have that trio compared to what they had in 2020. But I think that's why they were looked down upon, was that just it was a lot of the number one, you just lost Rashad and Kelvin, and it was a lot of the same guys doing the same kind of things. And you had to be, when you got in the red zone, you had to be really precise, because when you're 5'8" or 5'10", you don't have a huge catch radius, as I like to say. That's one of my buzzwords, Aslan. buzz phrases is catch radius, ball skills, which we know I'm a fan of, always have been. I told you that the first day I met you. And then catch radius. It's been a long show.
Yeah, it has been. It's an hour and a half now. So we are done.
Thank you, though, man. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely, Khalil. We do appreciate it. Let's make it official. Let's turn off the phone line. Shout out to Terry again. Terry, thank you for screening the phone calls.
We are sorry, but the show has ended. Goodbye.
Makes our life a little bit easier to know what's coming our way, so we do appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Hit the thumbs up if you haven't already. Thank you to Khalil. Thank you to Garrett's Noles. Thank you to Willie Johnson. Thank you to Carter, Ed, Redbeard, A.R. Mendez, Mark, Rob, Thomas Giddings, and Eric. We do appreciate you folks tuning in, tipping us, hitting the thumbs up, drinking the DeLuna coffee, going to warchant.com, and everything else that you folks do and the joy you bring to our lives. So we will be back for Renegade Express on Thursday and some stuff for you folks on Friday. Happy Hour drops Thursday live show. Florida State basketball back in action Wednesday night, tomorrow, or today if you're listening to the podcast, against Miami. And that's all I got. Corey didn't figure out a way to end the show strongly, but it's an hour and a half, so we've done our job. Thanks for being here, Corey. You're great.
I felt I really brought it. After the bad start, I felt like I brought it.
You climbed. All right. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Thanks for watching and listening to Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee.